Think scaling AI is hard? Think again. With Watson X, you can deploy AI across any environment. Above the clouds, helping pilots navigate flights, and on lots of clouds, helping employees automate tasks. On-prem, so designers can access proprietary data, and on the edge, so remote bank tellers can assist customers. Watson X works anywhere, so you can scale AI everywhere. Learn more at ibm.com/WatsonX. IBM. Let's create.
Hi. Sorry, did I startle you? When you're used to hearing a certain type of commercial, something like this can, well, take you by surprise. That's kind of how it is with the Lexus RX, a vehicle that has continued to defy expectations for over 25 years. From the first luxury vehicle of its kind, to the first hybrid luxury vehicle, to the only plug-in hybrid worthy of the RX name. We understand you want more than the everyday SUV. And isn't being understood an amazing feeling? Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, distribute it everywhere, and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit your podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel so supported in the creation and distribution of my show. Spotify for Podcasters hosts masterclasses, office hours, and more to help creators develop and fine-tune their skills. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to 80/20. I'm your host, Lily Rako. And happy Tuesday. I am recording this on Tuesday afternoon and it's going to go up probably like 15 minutes after I record it, so it's fresh, you guys. This is a fresh episode if you're listening to it on Tuesday. I have just been like running around like a chicken with my head cut off ever since like Friday, and I feel like I just can't catch up with myself or catch up with my to-do list. And so I apologize that this is obviously kind of late on Tuesday, but it's still up on Tuesday, and that's really all that matters. So for this week's episode, I had like a whole thing written out about like social media and like just how I'm kind of like getting tired of it. And I started recording this episode like based on this topic, but I felt like it wasn't thoroughly, I felt like whatever I was saying like wasn't thoroughly thought out, if that makes sense. Like I just kept saying random stuff, and then at the end I would just say, if that makes sense, if that makes sense. And I'm like, okay, Lily, you need to stop. If you're not making sense, or if you don't think that you're making sense, no one's going to think that you're making sense. So we're going to hold off on the social media topic for right now until I kind of get my thoughts in check about it. But I really do want to talk about social media and just how it has been impacting me a lot recently, and not necessarily in the best way. So maybe stay tuned for next week for that episode because it's something that I do want to talk about, but I feel like I want my thoughts to be concise and clear for you guys, because I wouldn't want you guys to plug in and just be like, Lily, you're just rambling for like half an hour. Like, what are you talking about? So we're going to switch things up today, and we're going to do like a Q&A style episode, which I feel like is going to be so helpful for you guys because there are so many like random questions that people ask me all the time, you know, from like advice related stuff to like, oh, like where's your favorite candle from? Just like random stuff like that. So I thought that it would be fun to, instead of having more of like a lecture, like talking based episode, to just have more of like a Q&A kind of episode. So that's what we're going to do in today's podcast. But before we do that, I wanted to get into our top 3 and our affirmation for today. Okay, so our top 3 of today is my top 3 favorite like artists / songs at the moment. I was gonna do songs, but then I was like, wait, no, I have way more than 3 favorite songs right now. So I'm gonna do like artists, but then also maybe songs. I don't even really know, but I'm just gonna kind of like scroll through my fall playlist right now and tell you guys like what my top 3 favorite like things to listen to are right now. I feel like my mind is all over the place today, and that's maybe why I'm struggling to record this. If you're listening to this and you feel like I am rambling, or if you feel like you are getting lost, just know that I too am lost. And I'm going to take a sip of my coffee now. Okay, so my favorite artist, like number 1 at the top of my list right now, is probably The Kid Laroi. And I really like his song Need You Most or Go with Juice WRLD, or the song Tell Me Why. Anything off of that album. Hold on, I forget what the album's called. I think it's just called, it's called F Love. I'm not going to say the word, but yeah, it's called F Love. And yeah, I've just really been loving his music recently. It's like really good for like a vibe. Like if you're driving at night, like this is the type of music that I would like to listen to. So really been enjoying his music recently. Then my other favorite songs right now are Boyfriend by Hardy. It's a country song. And when I first listened to it, I was like the opening line is like, I don't want to be your boyfriend anymore. And I was like, wait, this is kind of sad. But then it talks about them getting married, so that's really cute. And then my other favorite song is Holy by Justin Bieber and Chance the Rapper. I really like that. Or I really like Bozzy at the moment. Like the song 315. I don't know why. Maybe like a long distance relationship vibe just kind of resonates with me. So yeah, I've just really been liking music. That was way more than 3 favorite songs. But you know, my top faves at the moment. Maybe I'll just turn it into like my favorite things. No, I can't do that because I like it to be a list. Whatever, guys. I'm still trying to figure out the podcast thing, and my brain is like not. I have too many tabs open up there. I need to reset the software. Maybe I need a software update. Okay. Anyway, affirmation of the week kind of plays into a couple like big decisions that I've made recently. And the affirmation is I am becoming the best version of myself. And I chose that one to talk about today because and this also probably goes into why my brain has been so discombobulated for the past few days, and why this is, you know, minutes before I'm uploading this episode is literally when I'm recording it. But I've had a lot going on recently between my nutrition school. We actually have a test this week, so I'm trying to study for that. And then I was also trying to like edit and upload videos because I haven't been posting for a while, and that's a whole nother story. But the biggest thing of all this past, you know, like month or so, but specifically this week, is I am starting college classes again, which is so exciting. And if you guys have been following along with kind of like my journey, whether it be like within the past year or just the past few months, you probably know that I was taking a gap semester this semester, and I have decided to attend an online university, and I'm so excited about it. After looking into so many different schools and so many different programs, and you know, if I was a freshman or if I was about to be a freshman in college, like it wouldn't matter where I'd go because I literally would have like 0 credits, like I'd be starting from scratch. But I already have like 60 credits, and most schools wouldn't take them. So something that was really important to me when I was looking at schools was to make sure that they would take the credits that I've earned and that I've paid for. And a lot of schools want you to spend more time and money at their school, obviously, because the education system is really all about money nowadays. Something that I was looking for was for them to take my credits, and I finally found a school that would. And it is the University of Maryland online campus, which means that I'll be a 100% online student, but I'm still going to get my bachelor's degree, which is something that I am really excited about because that's really important to me. And I can start halfway through the semester by taking like 8-week courses, if that makes sense. So a lot of online schools do this where like you can start in August through December and take classes spread out throughout the whole semester, or you can take a semester class, like a class that's a semester's worth of work crammed into an 8-week session. And so that's what I'm doing. And I have my work cut out for me, but I am so excited to get back into like the academic grind and to just be like a student again. I really missed being a student. I miss like having work to do and like deadlines and challenges. I feel like I thrive off of like a little dose of stress, enough stress to like, you know, a healthy stress. I feel like stress can be healthy. It can be like a good way to like, you know, light a little fire under your ass or whatever. But then there's also the stress that is unhealthy, which is what I faced like a year ago, when your entire environment just feels like it's not supportive. But now I'm in such a better place than I was a year ago. Yeah, I'm really ready to get back into the swing of things, and I'm excited. So that is kind of why I've been like running around like a chicken with my head cut off, because I've had so many things to do. I've had to make so many phone calls because obviously like you're not on a campus. And so I'm like, you know, calling my advisor, I'm on the phone with the financial aid people, you know, like I'm emailing professors, I'm trying to get all my stuff together for these classes. And if you guys are in college, you know that classes don't start the day the classes start. Classes start like a week before classes start. So I've been very busy, to say the least. But I'm excited. So that's just a little like life update for you guys. Also, I chopped my hair off yesterday. And so I wasn't supposed to have that appointment. I was supposed to do it today. And so that's why I'm kind of late recording this podcast episode, because I spent 5 hours in a hair salon yesterday. And I swapped my appointment with someone else because she asked me if I was available to swap with someone. And so that's why I'm kind of discombobulated, because my schedule got a little flip-flopped. If you guys want to see like how I chopped my hair, be sure to watch my vlog. That will probably go up like tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, it's brown now, by the way. Like it was a little bit brown before, but like I'm a full brunette. And in the picture that I posted on Instagram, the lighting kind of made my hair look a lot lighter than it was, like just because I was in the sun. And it kind of is that color. Like when you go outside, it like looks lighter, but then when you're inside, it looks darker. And so I posted on my Instagram like a selfie, and then I was like, can I still have fun? As in like, you know, blondes have more fun apparently. And, you know, I'm kind of curious, can I still have fun with brown hair? A couple of people like DM me and they were like, you do realize that you're not a brunette, right? And I was like, no, it's just the lighting. Like, I'm sorry if that was misleading. But like in person and like in my vlog, it'll be so much darker and you guys will be like, whoa, that's like actually a big change. I also chopped it, by the way. Like it's like shoulder length now, which is crazy. We're in a season of change, everybody. I love the fall time. So we're going to go ahead and get into answering all of your questions. I'm really excited because I just took like a little peek at some of the questions that you guys asked me, and this will be good because it'll be super candid. Like I peeked, but I don't know exactly all the things that you guys are going to ask me, so I'm excited. By the way, if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, make sure that you are, because that's where like I'll give you the opportunity to ask me questions. So you can go follow me on Instagram. It's just at Lily Rayco, or you can follow the podcast Instagram. If I'm posting something like podcast related, I'll post it on both of my accounts. But if you just want like behind the scenes of my life, I'll probably just post on my personal account. I made the podcast Instagram, but I feel like in hindsight, I'm not going to use it as much as I thought I was going to use it. So I don't know. Like I put my question sticker up on my Lily Rayco account because I feel like more people follow me on that account than on the podcast Instagram. And so, yeah, if they want to like ask me a question there and don't follow the podcast Instagram, like I feel like that's just a better place. Make sure that you're following me on both Instagrams, because I feel like I'm definitely not using the podcast Instagram as much as I intended it to. I also feel like Instagram has become very overwhelming for me, and I wish that someone could just do it for me. So that's kind of where I'm at with Instagram right now. Okay, let's jump into some of your questions. Okay, so first question asks, how do you manage long distance? And this is from SNE Fitness. That's her username. How do you manage long distance? So if you guys are new to the podcast or to me, I have been dating my boyfriend for almost 2 years now, which is crazy that we're coming up on our 2 years. But we met freshman year of college and we really just hit it off right away. It was really one of those things that was like low-key, like love at first sight or whatever, if you believe in that. I do, because it kind of happened to me. Maybe I'll get him on the podcast and we can have a whole like talk about us and like our relationship and how we met and, you know, long distance from his point of view. But we are currently in a long distance relationship because he lives in Indiana. He's from Indiana and goes to college in Indiana. And I am from Maryland, went to college in Indiana for a little bit, then now I'm back in Maryland. So how do we manage long distance? I really think that the first step is to actually like the person that you're dating, and both of you have to come to this mutual agreement that you both want long distance to work. And if you both don't understand that you both want it to work, you're gonna have a lot of problems. And I see this a lot, at least like with friends or people in my DMs. Like, you guys always ask for long distance relationship advice, and I get it. Like, it's something that you really do have to work at, but if you're with the right person, it's not going to feel like you really have to work at anything. I don't know if that's just like he makes it really easy for me, or if I just, you know, we just like mesh so well together. It doesn't feel like a burden, if that makes sense. Like, the only like negative thing is that we can't be together, and that's like a good negative thing. It'd be a problem if I didn't want us to like be together. Really, aside from missing him, there's like no problems. And I feel like that really stems from our constant communication with one another. We're very honest about everything. We tell each other like exactly, you know, what we're doing or where we're going or, you know, who we're going with, and not like we're doing that to be invasive with our privacy or anything like that, but just because we genuinely want the other person to know like where we're going, who we're with, what we're up to, as if they were right there with us. And so I feel like when it comes to long distance relationships, the biggest thing is communication. And if you're not telling your significant other what you're up to or how your day went, or even just calling to say like, hey, you know, I'm in the store and I passed your favorite food and it made me think of you, or something stupid like that, then you're probably gonna have a more difficult time because you're not utilizing the communication tools that we have. Like, we literally could not live in like a more perfect era to do long distance because we have phones. We literally could be in constant communication if we wanted to be. And I think that trust is also a huge factor, because if you don't trust the other person, long distance is never going to work. And if you constantly feel like this person is going to find someone else, or if they are constantly worried that you're going to find someone else and you just don't trust each other, then why are you together? If you can't trust this other person to go to a party and be loyal to you, then you probably need to find someone new, because if you don't have like basic trust, you're not going to get very far. So the next question comes from Amy, and she asks, any advice for people who feel like they aren't doing the college thing right, like they're not having enough fun? This is actually really interesting because I definitely struggled with this, and I feel like a lot of times we base our idea of what college is supposed to look like off of what it's like in movies or TV shows or even on Instagram. Like, we see everybody posting, you know, game day pics and like, you know, this is me with my roommate and we're having the best time ever, and like we're in the dining hall, it's so good, and everybody's having the time of their life. But nobody posts pictures of them unless it's like on their Finsta or like a private story of them like bawling their eyes out at the library at like 2 a.m. because they know that they're... Who's calling me? What? Guys, I don't know what happened, but like Lexi's boyfriend, his FaceTime call like came through to my computer. Like, what? That was so random. That's literally never happened before. Okay. Also, sorry guys, my chair is squeaky. I don't know if you guys can pick up on that or not. Wow, now I lost my train of thought. Nobody posts pictures of them posting or crying in the library at 2 a.m. because they know that they're going to fail their psychology test tomorrow. Unless they're very, very transparent on their normal personal Instagram feed, like that, you know, their parents follow and whatnot. So I feel like we really have to take what we think college is supposed to be and kind of spin that idea to really try to focus on what college actually is. It's an opportunity for you to gain higher education to become a better person, to learn more about yourself. And along the way, of course, have fun. But college looks a lot different for everybody. And especially nowadays, like half of students are online and like half people are on campus, but they can't really be on campus because of COVID and whatever, and all these regulations, and like they're locked in their dorm and then they're quarantined. And I don't know. I feel like college right now is not what college is supposed to be. But also college isn't always supposed to be all fun and games. Like, you're there to get an education, and I feel like a lot of people forget that. So if you feel like you aren't, quote, doing the college thing right, try to figure out why you feel that way. Maybe write down like what you expected college to look like versus what it does look like for you, and then figure out what you need to do to change it. And if you feel like in your gut that you're not at the right school or that you're not doing it right, talk to someone about it. Be like, hey, do you feel this way? Do you feel like you're not having fun here? Is it the campus? Is it the school? Or is it me? Or like, what is it that, whoa, my mic thing just got messed up. Like, what is it that makes me feel like I'm not doing it right? And if it's just like, oh, I feel like I'm not partying enough, then maybe you need to find friends who don't love to party. If you don't want to go out and party, like, you don't have to party to have fun in college, for the record. And so maybe just try to like hone in on why you feel like you aren't having enough fun, or why you feel like this specific school isn't enough for you. So Sydney asks, what are some of your long-term goals in life? I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I don't have any. But I feel like life changes so much, especially in your 20s, and especially like right now. Like, we don't know what the world is going to look like a month from now, let alone like 5 years from now. And so I feel like it's so hard to set at least like career goals, or like, I don't even know. I know that a goal of mine is to graduate from college, because that's something that's important to me, and I kind of talked about that earlier in the episode. But I feel like other than like graduating from college, I have like personal goals. Like, I don't really have like career goals or like school goals or anything like that, because I feel like when you're this young, you don't have to know what your life is supposed to look like. I almost get like upset when people ask me, oh, like, what do you think your life is going to look like in 5 years? Like, I don't know. How are you supposed to know? So at least like my long-term personal goals would definitely just be to like, I don't know, just like keep inspiring people and like living and being the best version of myself. And I guess just kind of like being a good person to all the people in my life. And that's kind of like what matters most to me. And I've really started to realize that like within the past year, that like life is short, and we just have to try our best to live our best life to the best of our ability, like every single day. Next question is, my skin is kind of bad. Should I see a dermatologist or go on a plan like Curology? And I definitely would recommend going and seeing an esthetician. And I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, you just have to go and get a facial every month. Like, doesn't that get so expensive, whatever? And I'm like, so does buying like all these different skincare products and trying things out for like 2 weeks and then just having a really bad breakout. But anytime that you're doing any sort of treatment, it's going to get expensive. And so I would highly recommend seeing an esthetician. And the difference between an esthetician and a dermatologist is that they're not going to just prescribe you like an antibiotic or a medicine of some sort and say, oh, here, good luck. I wish you clear skin and a happy life. Like, they're actually going to look at your face up close and personal and give you a skincare routine that you need. And I have seen such a difference in my skin since going to my esthetician that I never saw with a dermatologist, and then I never saw just kind of like roaming through the aisles at Sephora trying to pick out what I think is going to work for my skin, because you don't know until you see a professional. So I really do recommend seeing an esthetician, because I think that that is really the only way to get closer to clear skin. And then the other thing too is maybe check out what the foods that you're putting into your body could potentially be doing to your skin. And just take everything that I say with a grain of salt, because like I do have some, nutritional background under my belt, but also like before you switch up anything with your diet, make sure that you talk to a health coach or your esthetician or your doctor or whatever. But I really do think dairy has a huge impact on my skin. And when I cut out dairy, my skin improved drastically. So really just check in with yourself and check in with how the foods that you're eating make you feel and how they could be impacting like other areas of your health. So I got a lot of health and wellness related questions, so I kind of wanted to move into that, kind of to piggyback off of like what I said about food. But also just to preface this, guys, if you listen to my podcast, you probably know like my YouTube and what I'm doing with my life and all that jazz. But I'm currently a student at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I do have a bit of background on like health and wellness and nutrition under my belt. But just know that everything that I'm going to say is for me and my body and my perspective. If you want personalized advice for you and your body and your perspective and your needs, please, 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 please seek that out from a professional and someone who can look at all of your individualized like wants and needs and goals and get personalized advice. Because you can listen to as many podcasts as you want, you can listen to as many YouTube videos as you want, and you can kind of like pull things from different people and like put that into your routine or like put that in your back pocket. But I truly think that the best route to go is to speak to someone who knows you and knows your situation. So these are just going to be questions related to my health and wellness journey, but just me. So take what you want and leave what you don't want. But yeah, just know that this is from me and my perspective. So first question is, do you diet and your thoughts on diet culture? I personally do not diet because I never really like even thought of like doing a specific type of diet, I guess. I've, tried out different ways of eating, but I've never followed like the keto diet or like intermittent fasting or like paleo. Like I've never tried like a specific diet, and I've never really been interested in trying one out because I feel like everybody needs like different things in their diet. Like one person's food is another person's poison. And so for me, I just have kind of made up like my own way of eating, and that's just kind of like turned into my lifestyle, if that makes sense. So for me personally and my body, I don't eat any dairy because it really messes with my digestive system and it really makes me break out, gives me headaches, brain fog. I just have not really had a good experience with dairy. I also don't eat gluten because I have a gluten sensitivity. So when it comes to gluten, a lot of people are misled almost because I feel like gluten-free has become such like a trendy thing to do. And there's 3 types of people who like avoid gluten. So the first is celiac disease, which is actually an autoimmune disease. And people who do have celiac disease, they just can't eat gluten because their body can't process it correctly. And then there's wheat allergy, which is like an anaphylactic reaction to gluten. So like you need an EpiPen and all that stuff. And then there's just gluten sensitivity, which is people feel a wide variety of symptoms when they consume gluten. And then after taking it out of their diet, they feel better. There are like hundreds of different symptoms that fall under gluten sensitivity. And I personally have found that I feel better when I have taken gluten out of my diet. And then from there, I really just try not to eat highly processed foods. I try to fill up my plate with a lot of veggies, fruits. I like salmon. That's like my favorite source of animal protein. I like chicken. I really don't eat a lot of red meat just because I feel good not eating it. But I don't really follow like a specific rigid diet. I don't know, it just like kind of comes naturally to me. Like I just kind of eat what I need to feel good, if that makes sense. Okay, next question asks how to keep a positive mindset when it comes to health and fitness. And I think that a lot of times we are misled by social media for like health and fitness advice. I feel like we shouldn't necessarily be going to social media for health and fitness advice. And that's like kind of hypocritical, I guess, for me to say, because I do post like what I eat in a day and all that stuff, but that's not like, I don't post that with the hopes that people will watch it and be like, oh my gosh, she's like so fit, she's like such a health nut, she's like so healthy, and like I just want to be like her. Like, I pray that you do not think that when you watch my videos. I pray that you watch like a what I eat in a day for me and you think, oh, that's such a cool breakfast idea, I'm gonna try that. And then I hope that if you try it and you love it, that's great. And if you try it and you hate it, then you move on to something different and you do what works for you and your body. But when it comes to keeping a positive mindset for health and fitness, please keep in mind that your health journey looks so different than anybody else's health journey. And it's supposed to be that way, because if there was one correct way to eat and one correct way to work out, then we'd all, be eating XYZ and we'd all be, going to whatever workout class works the best, and then we'd all be healthy, right? And then we wouldn't even have a health journey. That's like no fun at all, right? Please don't compare your beautiful journey and path to someone who doesn't know your path, or to someone who is already 10 steps ahead of you on your path. Or don't compare your progress to someone who is like 10 steps behind you and think, oh, like they should have started earlier because I'm so much farther along. Like, just drop the comparison act, because it's not healthy. And just remember that you are on your own perfect little path. Do what feels good for you. And if it doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. So that's my little 2 cents. I feel like we're all in this together, so we should all be like motivating each other and like cheering each other on no matter what point we're at. But I feel like people don't like to do that. I feel like people like to be mean. So my advice to you is to just keep your head up and just know that you're on the right path, regardless of where you think you should be based on social media or whatever you're looking at. So next question is how to begin the habit of working out or eating healthy. And my advice to you would be to start with one thing at a time and take it very, very slow, because like I said, answering the last question, we're all on this journey and there's no final destination, because it's like the journey of life. The final destination would be the end, right? So, your motivation is going to come and go. Your food needs are going to fluctuate depending on how you're feeling that day, or like what time of month it is, or the year or time of year. So, really, like, there's no right answers, but the only way to start is just to start somewhere, and that place is right where you are. Definitely just take it slow. Start with one little thing, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Please remember that, because none of this is perfect. So this question isn't really like health and fitness related, but someone asked, have you started to help Lexi on her journey to apply to colleges? And yes and no. She obviously like knows my whole college story and so she definitely like has that in mind when she's applying to colleges, but I definitely like don't want to speak for her on her like college process, because it looks so different for everybody. So I have started to help her, but it's her journey, so I don't want to like take over. I'm excited for her. It's exciting to see her get accepted to places, and like I helped her with her essay and stuff, but it's not really like my journey to tell. So I've been trying to get her to like start a YouTube channel, but she definitely doesn't want to do that. But I just thought that she's so like, she's just so cute, and she has such a different perspective on the world than I do. So I feel like that'd be so beneficial to you guys, just to see like another perspective of the world. But yeah, it's her journey. So I'm going to let her tell her story, and wherever she ends up is where she'll end up. And that's where she'll, grow and thrive and where she's meant to be. What does a morning in your life look like? I'll vlog a little bit every morning, but I never really, I don't know, I feel like every morning's kind of different. So I don't show like every piece of the morning. So I wanted to tell you guys like what a morning in my life looks like. So typically I try to wake up between like 7:30 and 8. My goal time is always 6 o'clock, but I feel like I just can't get up that early right now, and I don't know why, but something in my body just needs the rest. And so I'm able to sleep in until like 7:30 or 8. So I'll typically sleep in until 7:30 or 8. I have like these little supplements that I take in the morning, and I keep them on my bedside table. So that's like literally the very first thing that I do when I get up. And then I drink a big glass of water, and then I go into the bathroom and I do like my skincare routine. I brush my teeth, I put my contacts in, and then I typically wander downstairs like 15-20 minutes later, and I go and get a cup of coffee. That's the very first thing that I do. Or sometimes I do lemon water. It kind of just depends on how I'm feeling. And like I said, every day is different. And I really just try to like tune into my body and like what I feel like I need that day or what my body's craving. And so if I'm really tired, I typically go for a cup of coffee. If I, want to help out my digestive system a little bit, or like if I'm kind of feeling funky, which is probably like 2 or 3 days a week, I go for lemon water because I do have a really sensitive digestive system. So I just drink whatever I feel like drinking, and I constantly drinking water throughout the morning too. And then I like to make a little breakfast. Recently that's been like a protein shake or some berries. Kind of just depends on the day, but I really like going for one of those options. And then I go up to my room and I kind of get dressed for the day. Typically that's like a sweatshirt and sweatpants. And then I make my bed. And I always try to make my bed, but I think it was like a comment on one of my videos one time that you should like let your bed like breathe or whatever, like after you wake up. And I used to make it first thing, but I've started to make it like 30 minutes after I get out of bed. I don't know why, but I feel like my sheets are comfier since I've done that. So I don't know if it really helps or if it's just in my head, but that's what I've been doing. And then sometimes I'll go for a workout, like if I have like a yoga class or CrossFit or something, I'll go do that. But then other days I just get right to work on my computer. So it really just depends on the day and like what I have scheduled or what I need that day. And sometimes I don't know what I need until I wake up. Sometimes I'll book a last minute yoga class, or I'll just kind of decide that I want to go for a walk or a run or whatever. But then some days I'm just like, okay, I need to get right to work. And so I do. So it kind of just depends on the day. And I'm really grateful that I do have such a flexible schedule at the moment that I can kind of just take it slow and figure out like what I need that day. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question and then I'm going to end things off because my recording, I've been almost recording for like 40 minutes now, and I feel like that's a little lengthy for just like a Q&A episode. So the last question of the day is perfect because I was going to end with a quote anyway. But Jessica asks, what is your favorite quote at the moment? And I actually have these sticky notes on the side of my desk that I just write out what my favorite quotes are. And so I don't have like one specific favorite quote, but I think that the one right now that like resonates with me the most would probably be, if the version of you from 5 years ago could see you right now, they'd be so proud. Keep going. And I don't necessarily know who this quote is by because I just like flagged it on Instagram and then I wrote it out on a sticky note. But I truly believe that. Like if like 5 years ago I was in high school and I could never have imagined my life to be this way, but I'm so glad that like this is how I am today. If, 15-year-old me could see where I am now, and like I have a YouTube channel, I have a podcast, I have, an amazing boyfriend, I'm a junior in college, I am doing what I love to do, and I'm really just like living my best life, like she would be so happy. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end off the podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you got to learn like a little bit more about me, got some advice or tips, tricks, whatever from this episode. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening and coming back every week and supporting me. And I will talk to you guys next Tuesday. Bye.